After the fall of the non-avian dinosaurs caused by a giant asteroid, mammals made the Earth their own. And with their newfound rule, they quickly began to grow much larger than before, no longer restrained in stature by their previous rulers. And this tendency of becoming larger and larger only continued to increase for millions of years, until it reached its pinnacle about 34 million years ago when a titanic mammal emerged in Eurasia in the form of a hornless rhino. It was dubbed the Paraceratherium, and to many it was considered the largest land mammal to ever exist. And since its existence, no land mammal has reached its size. However, this may not actually be the case, as in the 1800s a discovery was made in India that unveiled a prehistoric elephant that was so giant that it shook up our understanding of mammals, and is today considered to likely have been even larger than the Paraceratherium, making it the current largest mammal to ever walk the earth. This was Paleoloxodon namadicus. As the name suggests, this elephant wasn't a genus, rather a species that belonged to a pre-existing genus, the Paleoloxodon. This was a group of elephants that are believed to have first evolved in Africa some 4 million years ago during the early Pliocene, with the oldest species being Paleoloxodon recci. This species, like the namadicus, was a giant, with a completed male specimen indicating a weight of over 12 tons, making it larger than any living species of elephant today. And things would only get crazier for this genus, as between 600 to 800,000 years ago, a population of Paleoloxodon recci migrated out of Africa and into Eurasia, where this migratory group would eventually become two new species. One was the Anticus, an even larger elephant that tipped the scales at over 15 tons and was taller than nearly every theropod to ever exist. Ironically, many of this species would spread to islands throughout Europe, where its descendants would one day become the smallest known elephants of all time, a far cry from the enormity of the Anticus. And yet, even this elephant was nothing compared to the second species that would arise from recci, Paleoloxodon namadicus. The oldest specimen of this titan has been dated to over 700,000 years ago from the early Middle Pleistocene, and paleontologists were absolutely shocked by the sheer size of its fossils. They were especially fascinated by a femur that outsized that of a triceratops. And based on this bone alone, along with a right humerus, they estimated that this individual was 4.35 meters or 14.3 feet tall at the shoulders. However, the real kicker would come some years later when an even more giant femur was located, about 20% larger than the previous one, and this time around, paleontologists estimated the namadicus was in a league of its own, with this larger specimen being between 5.2 meters or 7.1 feet tall at the shoulder.